flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today is Tuesday, March 16, 2021. The time being 5 p.m. The meeting of the Greensburg Board of Works is called to order. This is a special meeting for a couple of topics. At this time, please silence electronic devices to comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The city requests that participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back of the room. Brittany, would you please call the roll?
Rodney King.
Here.
Glenn Tebby.
Here.
Jamie Kane.
Here.
Dee Rest.
Okay. First thing on the new business is Chief Stoermer of the Fire Department for new hire.
Good afternoon. As discussed at the last meeting, we had a sudden, unexpected opening, and we had a discussion that we did have one eligible candidate to hire. I am here tonight to ask permission to move forward in offering a conditional offer to that candidate on your approval.
Okay. Any questions for the chief? If not, we'll take a motion.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Let's assume that we vote yes, and you call this candidate, and they don't accept or they've already taken the job. We're back to square one, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
that's my interpretation of it.
okay,
That is correct. I have spoken with a candidate. He will accept.
thank you.
So that is taken care of, as well as that will expire or utilize the current hiring list. So you will see a posting for taking applications beginning April 5th.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we will be in a new process at that point. Any other questions?
Maybe not for this meeting, but just something to think about. Maybe we should look at our, like if we have a new hire, I think if they leave within the first 2 years, it's prorated.
So it's 3 years
Is it 3?
at $130 a month for the first 3 months that they have to pay back. It is currently how our reimbursement agreement reads.
I mean, I don't know if we want to look at that or exclude maybe it's, if they leave within the first 6 months, they have to pay it all back, and then we prorate it from 6 months to 3 years, and then we prorate it per month after that or something.
I would entertain that, or looking at their probationary year not counting somehow, or potentially not. It starts the clock the day they walk in. Our last individual who was only here for 8 months did not make it off probation. Had a prorated amount because he was there for 8 months, as well as the time that he had accrued through overtime, scheduled overtime for trainings. He was able to actually utilize some of that to pay back as well. So, which that's fine, but yeah, if we could somehow.
It's still a significant cost. Yeah.
Correct, absolutely. It is, but if we could somehow make sure we get them through their probationary period, that's probably the largest, disappointment that we have is we don't even have them for that full year.
Just something to think about in the future.
Anything else for the chief?
I make a motion that we move forward and offer the position to the gentleman that's available.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made by Rodney, seconded by Jamie. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you much. Up next, we have Eric Ratz with DLZ. He is our lead architect on our City Hall project and the bulk of the reason for our meeting this evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Big.
Thank you. I've read this one. Do you have another one?
I have 5 copies. Sorry. So
You need
I need one. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll
Okay.
break.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for this. I'm here to give an update on some 5 different change orders. And the way we do this is that anytime there's any kind of a potential change on a project, we issue something that's called a proposal request. With a proposal request, it describes what the changes are. We give that to the contractor will review that, and then they will forward it back to us with their proposal request quote to make any kind of changes to that. Within their proposal request will come both a cost, either a credit or a deduction, either a credit or an add to the project, as well as they will also discuss any kind of change as far as what the length of schedule is on the project. So tonight, we're here to talk about 5 different change orders. And again, a change order is necessary such that the contract between the city of Greensburg and CPM is that you've got a legal binding way to be able to amend that contract, and that's what a change order is. So we have 5 of them here, and that's the packet of information I gave to you. The first change order is, and I'll go through as much detail on this as you want to, but the first change order is on the east wall of the former gymnasium, the large multi-purpose room. There was a request to add some acoustical wall panels to that space. We have some that's on the west side of the wall where some of the folding tables used to come down. What we're doing is we're infilling, we're removing the tables, putting in some CMU. It's all part of what you've already paid for. Put acoustical wall panels over it. On the east wall, we've got a similar situation, sort of, that we're infilling some of the openings. To use the glazed tile that's there is basically not possible, so we were going to do CMU, but we've decided to help with acoustics a little bit, but also then to cover that up is to add some acoustical wall panels. So change order number 1 is there is an add to the contract in the amount of $2,058.70. If you're looking here, it's the second to bottom number here. That's how much add for number 1 would be. All the information behind that is the proposal request quote from CPM, plus then what the original proposal request that DLC developed and issued to the contractor. So they break it down into quite a bit of cost with that. So for change order number 1, asking for consideration and then approval for this. I have personally signed this. Connor Blaker from CPM has signed it, and upon your approval, then someone would sign, and then this work would then move forward. Any questions on change order number 1? I don't know if you want to go through all of them, if you want to make a motion on each one, or how you would like to do this.
I think each one makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Any other questions for Eric, Ron, and I have also reviewed this. We've got our lead contact on it, obviously, so we've reviewed it as well. Any other questions for Eric?
So this is for acoustics
It's acoustical wall panels that go
Okay.
along the east wall of the gymnasium.
and also for appearance?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
So do you want a motion to approve
Yep.
change order 1?
Take a motion to approve
So-
change order 1.
You want to authorize the mayor to sign.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve change order number 1 and give the mayor authorization to sign.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made by Jamie, second by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Change order number 2, the second document. This did a couple of things. One is in the main entrance into the building. Once you get inside, on one side is really a building with more of a receptionist. On the other side is administrative assistant. We made some modifications to the appearance of that area, but then the other thing that is much more prevalent to what this cost was is we also have added some furniture in that space, some workspaces such that, counters that they can work on, a few file drawers, cabinet drawers, that sort of thing to that overall project, or to that area of the building. Something that's absolutely necessary to make that as far as the furniture. So what we did was we had all this built into the project, built into the more of a formal type of counter space, workspace for the 2 folks working there. So the change on this one was $17,633.93. It is not to scare you or anything, but it is the largest one we're talking about here tonight.
Was this an expectation that was going to happen?
Furniture did need to be put into that space. So this isn't a cost that, this was a cost that something was going to occur somewhere, where you went out and you bought other furniture, or we built it all in to make it all look the same, be all very similar. Made a couple of revisions to some of the sliding doors, some glass doors, make it 3 doors instead of 2 doors and that sort of thing, but it was all built into that. It needed to be done.
So I think I understand where you're at. You mentioned glass. I guess I'm thinking counters and glass, I'm not sure. So that's where you got me confused. I don't understand why you'd have glass doors on the counter unless you're looking, have people look into the file cabinet?
So what this is that when you first walk into the vestibule, okay, on your left-hand side, there's going to be a window that a receptionist on the other side of the window that you can communicate back and forth.
Okay.
Okay? We'll have the same thing on the other side, on the east side, for the administrative assistant, in case the receptionist on vacation, restroom, whatever, that you've got to be able to do that. Once you walk through the second set of doors, then when you look to the left or you look to the right, there is, to make it more of a open type of an appearance, there are some sliding doors, glass doors, from a counter to the ceiling that will then open up so that there can be some communication back and forth with these folks whenever you're inside the space.
Okay,
Do you remember, like Kristen's desk up front
Yeah.
is just open?
right,
The sliding glass allows us to secure her desk at night.
I got you. But going to the east, you say, that's the hallway.
It's in the corner where that glass display case was.
Oh,
It's
That's
gone.
gone.
going in there. All right, that's what I want. All
Yes,
right.
sorry about that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right,
And then this also adds the work surfaces and, like I said, the cabinets and things for all of that to be done.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made by Rodney, is there a second?
I'll second if we amend it to allow Josh to sign.
Perfect. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you. So, change order number 3. Very typical in schools of this vintage. Not me, but schools of this type, we use unit ventilators. And the unit ventilators sit in front of the windows. We all can probably remember when we were in elementary school. Throughout the building, those are all being removed as part of your overall project, already in base bid. There's also some of the open metal shelving that was to each side of that. And the majority of the metal shelving was to be removed, but there were a few rooms that it was left in place. Where we removed the unit ventilator, we were putting in plastic laminate casework in that spot, okay? So what was decided is, you know what? We don't want any of the metal shelving anywhere. There's just a few rooms where we kept it, but we don't want that metal shelving. We also don't want to add that casework, okay? So when we take out the metal shelving, we take out that little piece of casework that we get a credit for now, is now we have to go back in, we have to patch a little bit of the walls where those units were, and we have to provide some floor material in that area. So to do that in all the rooms there was an add of $841.05 to do this. So it's a good value, and I would like to propose that for consideration.
so moved with the approval for Josh to sign.
Second.
Motion was made by Glenn, second by Rodney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Okay, we have 2 more here. Change order number 4. Back in the utility area, back in the northeast corner, we had 2 spaces where we, as part of the base bid, have created a transaction window. So a vehicle can pull up, they can do the transaction, similar to say like what a bank is, right next to the building, not the pneumatic tubes. With that, after some further investigation, some further review, is that we decided to change some of the casework that was in that area, make some of it a little bit taller, add some to a second space, make a few little revisions. And then also, we needed to change some of the electrical in the area, not just that area, but also a couple other areas in the overall building. And so the change on this is in the amount of $6,284.76.
This has also been reviewed with Donna for her workplace flow, and she's approved it as well. Any questions for Eric?
There was some modification of the standard cost, I see, so that's helpful.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been,
With approval from the
sure. Motion's been made by Glenn, second by Rodney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Okay, thank you. So last one tonight. And this is an interesting one, to be honest. Back whenever the building was originally built, back in the 1950s, there was a ceiling that was on the bottom side of, it was called a spline ceiling, but it was on the bottom of all the roof joists. And that was the finished ceiling for decades. And that was very, very common in these types of buildings. Sometime later, during a renovation, 80s, 90s, there was a drop ceiling. If we would take out one of these ceiling panels, you'd probably see a ceiling up much higher. So what this change order does is a lot of things. Is that this goes through everything except the addition that was done, you know, the classrooms that were to the far east of the building with the ramp. It goes through the rest of the building to remove the higher ceiling. As part of our base bid project is we went in and we removed all of the existing ceiling. That was what you would see, but we found in some areas it would make it a whole lot easier. Get ceilings just a little bit higher, help speed up some things with construction, make it easier for everyone involved, and there's a lot of folks, including DLZ, helping out on this one with some of the costs with this. So the overall change order amount that the contractor has requested for this is $4,720. And again, this is one that to make it smooth transition for everyone, DLZ is we've had discussions about this, and we will be crediting part of our fee to pay for part of this. So I'd like to offer this up for consideration by the board.
For a touch of clarification, we have to pay the contractor. DLZ cannot pay the contractor. So we pay this whole amount, but as part of our billing from DLZ, we will receive credit for half of that amount. But you are authorizing the full amount. Any other questions for Eric? If
Make a motion to approve
with my signature,
with your signature.
is there a second? Motion's been made by Rodney, second by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, Eric. I hate to put you on the spot in a moment, but could you give everybody a slight update where we are, just in the process a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, the vast majority of all the demolition of the project has been completed. You will see some guys running around up on the roof here very, very soon, starting to do the roofing project. It's a total replacement for that, including all the metal that's on the exterior of the building. You're going to be seeing that. Metal stud walls have gone up in a few of the spaces where there's some new rooms. The up and down the corridors where we are putting in a new, basically finish along the corridors, that's all started. Some duct work, some electrical conduits, electrical stuff has been started. So I think from people driving by, you're going to start to see in the next few weeks here the roof being done with the new metal and stuff. So you're going to see some big changes with that.
Are you allowing visitors?
Pardon me?
Are you allowing visitors?
No, Dr. King, we're keeping you out for the moment.
What I would say is if you are properly wearing your PPE, your protection, personal protection equipment, and you check in with the on-site superintendent. I am sure you could, but it's obviously not open to the public.
Right.
I have been by, looked in the windows.
Yeah?
Well, I could see with
Sure.
demolition, so.
Yeah.
We're starting to get to where maybe it's starting to look like something.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
that's all the business for this evening. I have signed copies for you. We are expecting a couple more
Yep.
to come along that we've been working on behind the scenes as we've discovered things during demolition and just sort of making our way through the process. We are hopeful that we are about done with the big ones and are down to fits and finishes by the time we get too far down the road. We have a meeting scheduled for next Monday, tentatively. I know you will be out of town, you're out of town as well next week? Okay. So we should be able to do it in person if necessary, and if we can't get everything put together by then, we may delay it again. But there are some time-sensitive HVAC equipment in that, and a couple of the others. So Eric and his team's been working well on it, along with CPM, so we will adjourn if there's no further business, but just keep an eye on your email, and we'll be sure to keep everybody updated. Anything else? If not, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Jim. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.